never like there's training downstairs in both the large and small training room, and that's taken. So I'm like, that's not. But we'll figure it out. Okay. So you haven't joined a team meeting yet. So basically how it works is that we'll normally do quick announcements, just, kind of what's been happening on the team. Sometimes I'll do like a mindset portion, which I was going to do today, but for the sake of time, I'd rather bust up the CMAs and then make time for phone calls. So we usually do like a workshop style training where we'll go over either something seller related or something buyer related. So that you guys can get some like practical knowledge on how to present to buyers and sellers. And then also how to crank out some CMAs. That's what we're doing today. So goals and ambitions. I always like to start it off getting on a positive note, and everybody kind of share either a short-term goal that they have or maybe some long-term goal. And that could be something as crazy as like one day I want to own the Jazz, or it could be like I'm just trying to get a deal by next month, right? So I'd love to have everybody go around and just kind of say what they're working towards right now. Want to start us off, Scott?
Yeah, I'm just trying to my goal is to continue to update the current. A lot of my database right now doesn't have email, or some of them are text, but I'm going through my Facebook and I'm contacting those people because I have awesome connection, and I'm trying to update. So that's my biggest goal right now.
Awesome. There, I was going to say on Trello, there is a script for Facebook messages. There's like an easy way to, if you haven't connected with someone for a couple of years, or you're trying to get a phone number, how to do that without it feeling awkward.
Okay.
So check that out if you want.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So update your database, get it more set up. Elizabeth, what you got?
Well, I just got started, but I think it'd be awesome to sell a house by the end of this month.
Awesome.
I've got some big goals, and I've got some yearly goals. I'd like to hit $1 million on my 5th year in sales.
It's awesome.
At least. That'd be nice.
So total volume?
In that year. Well, not over the 5 years, but like by my 5th year, in that 5th year, sell $1 million. Yeah.
Do you mean like that's your GCI, like commission income? Or do you mean like your volume as in like so GCI is like if I say I'm going to sell $1 million, that means like I make $1 million, or on one hand it's like I sold a combined total of
make like
make
that's in my bank account.
Yes. Yeah, that's awesome. You totally could.
It's very different.
Yeah,
because like 2 homes.
I know. I was like,
5 years, I'm gonna sell 2 homes.
Yeah, no, it's like you could do that like in a month, in a week. I think Austin Polson actually on our team just did that in a week, but not $1 million take home. But yeah, that's awesome. Definitely read the MREA and do the math. Like it's like 1,000 people in a database systemized super well. That's like $1 million business, which is just absurd. Like it's literally just a math thing. There's already a model for it. So awesome. Love it. What you got, Joel? Oh, by the way, welcome, Elizabeth. You guys haven't met her. Do you want to go around and say your name? So this is Scott.
Joel.
Wendy.
Brian. Carlos.
Really? What you got, Joel?
I just want to buy a car.
What car?
I want to buy an X6.
By when?
Next year.
Like specifically, like give me a date.
Summer.
How much is it gonna cost?
Like 120,000, I think.
Do you know how much you'd have to make from now till then to do that?
No,
I mean, at least
not yet.
Yeah. Are you gonna finance it, or do you want to pay cash?
Paying cash would be awesome, but I'll probably just have to finance.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd encourage you to sit down and set a date. So do the math. So you know what you're working towards. So you know every week or every month how many appointments you need, and so on. Because like really in a month, boom, you got your car. Financially, is it the best decision? No, you should probably be more like B3, because it's like pocket change. It's a couple $100, here or there. But what you got, Wendy?
We want to buy a house at the beginning of 24, so we're working with that.
Awesome.
Short-term goal, just trying to like reach out to old SOI, and like update the database, and then I want to do 2 deals by the end of the year.
Awesome. What you got, Carlos?
Short-term, I say trying to get everything like set up, like contacts and leads and all that. Get that in good, and then long-term, I guess properties and stuff like that. Exciting things.
Awesome. So I'll challenge you guys when you guys say your goal, because it's better to make them more specific. So like you said, house by 24, right? So let's break those down. The let's say business structure wise, what would you like to have that done by?
Hopefully this month.
Okay. And then rental properties, when do you want to get your first?
Next year.
next year,
Middle of next year, yeah.
middle of next year, perfect. I'll ask myself this question so I can think about it. Currently working on a coaching program outside of KW, and the start of this year, I was in like the best financial position I've ever been in, and some life circumstances happened, and now I'm like still okay, but I'm not where I'd like to be. So I'd say by the end of the year, pay off all my debt and have at least 50,000, like not just like talking about this principle, you guys heard me say we do have, they'll make a statement like, oh, when I have more time than Z, I'll be a better husband or a better business person. Well, how I want you guys to is first you have to be somebody, right? So you want to be a millionaire real estate agent. That means you have to identify with that. It's not that you're going to say, oh, when I have the business big enough, then I'll make $1 million. It's like, no, you have to become the person that can actually go out and build that and scale it. So that means, education, associations, and obviously actions and effort. Obviously, do is the actions that are required that allow you to have the results. And then the cool part is that the cycle continues where you can then give, you can pay it forward to others. So I really like that principle. Just want to share it with you guys. Big wins on the team in the last like 2 weeks or so. Austin did close 2 in a week, and he also got a listing, which is awesome. Kaylee Kohler on our team, crazy as hell, closed a $2.7 million deal for her first deal, which was like a $70,000 commission. So that's awesome. And Kate Anderson on our team also closed one, which I think is his second or third. So good stuff. What are you guys working on? Anybody have anything right now?
I'm working on, so I did go to an open house where I met a couple of clients, where I was able to get a couple of clients who were interested.
Nice.
And the one was liked the house and wanted to make an offer, but by the time we got to it, there was already one on, it was already.
That was Shoney's, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Still. So, but he does want to, he said he liked me as an agent, wants to move forward with looking for a
Awesome.
house in the future, and he has a piece of land that he wants to put up for sale.
Sweet, right there, buyer and seller. Awesome. Birthdays this week. Joel's was, or I guess we missed yours. Happy late birthday, Taryn. Cool. Next week. So like I say, I'm out of town. If you guys need me, you're welcome to reach out though. And this week, like I say, even up until Sunday, like if you need time with me, take it. Let's make sure you guys are set up. And I'd even love to today at some point hear kind of what your guys' game plan is when I'm gone. I already spoke to you yesterday, so you're pretty set up, but I'd love to go through that process with you, make sure you guys aren't just kind of, blind when I'm gone. Next week, we got team meeting, W referral system. That'll be on Tuesday. There's a command class and there's also a CE class if you need CE credits. Jared's actually my preferred inspector. He's awesome. And you'd be surprised at how many houses actually test positive for mold. One of the houses we're going to do practice CMA on, I sold, I think in like 2020. I had to negotiate to have the whole basement, like basically stripped of drywall and redone because there was like 3 feet of mold up the wall. So it happens. And I've had probably 5 or 6 houses since then have similar issues. So it's always good to hear kind of what are the risks so you can educate your clients. Also, what are the, remediation tactics. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, you know how to handle your client, basically is what it is. Cool. Let's jump into CMAs. So everybody has got Utah real estate pulled up. If not, pull it up for me. Get logged in.
What's the Wi-Fi here?
It's
Hashtag.
I guess I'm on an Apple device, so I think I can just ask him.
yeah.
Hashtag.
He's right there.
Oh, yeah, it's right there.
Is it the guest or is it the
Yeah.
Oh.
the regular Keller Williams? It's just Keller Williams, and the password is capital L, and then let. So it's LET, and then capital K. Here, let me search on my texts real quick. If my phone didn't just
If
freeze.
somebody's phone is on it and they open their phone, they can also.
Here,
let me
try
know
to
the
ask
Wi-Fi.
him. Maybe you don't ask, it just comes up.
It just comes out.
Yeah.
I don't think that's one.
So let KW, so capital L E T, capital KW, and then IN lowercase 99.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so everybody has Utah real estate pulled up, is that correct? Logged in, ready to go? Sweet. So here's what we'll do. We're gonna start with this property here. I'm gonna kind of bounce back and forth between the slides so we can kind of go through the instructions together, and I'll also verbally walk you through it so we can kind of collaborate. Is anybody else still on Zoom? Hey, Karen, are you here? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can. I'm here.
Are you following along with us?
Yep, I am.
Awesome. If you have questions, just chime in, but I'll keep things moving. So
Okay.
when we're looking at a CMA, so I'm gonna hurry and just go a couple slides over really quick. So there's a couple things you want, and this is available on Trello, by the way. I just type this out, kind of written format for you guys. So based on what I'm seeing here, and for those of you who've done CMAs, what's our process? Like, you pull up the property information and what details are we trying to find? It's right there in this cheat sheet. So when I first see a property, so what I'll first have you guys do, whoops, I'm going a little too fast. What I'll first have you guys do is go to the MLS and you're going to type in, where's it at? MLS number. So you look at the MLS search MLS, and you'll type in 1759503. So there's a couple ways, and if at any point someone gets like left behind or stuck, let me know. But there's a couple ways you can find a property like this. So either A, it's going to be through, you have the MLS number, you can just simply search it in the top right corner, or you have to go, I'll show you really quick. You got to go to tax data.
So the basement on this house and mold up to the.
Not this house, this the second one we're gonna do. This is actually my house, but I hope it doesn't have mold, if so I'm screwed. Okay, so if you look or click on the TV really fast, so there's two ways to do it. You can either search based on the MLS right here, like I was showing you the other day, Scott. You got to go into tax data. So those are the two, whoops. So those are the two ways you can find a house. So let's say your cousin hits you up and says, hey, can you sell my house? And you're like, yeah, what's your address? Well, obviously he's not going to know his MLS number, right? So then you'd come in here, and so let's use my property as an example. So I would check the house number, and I'd say 1385. I'd select the county it's in, and then there's a couple cheat sheets or cheat codes I'll show you. So you can either just scroll and look for the address, or you can search for the owner's name. So I could say Riley Condor, or I could search the street address, 150 East, boom, and it pulls up. And then I would click on this little hyperlink. It would take me to, this is what's called the tax data. So kind of a overview of the property. And I can see here if there's ever been a house listed. So just for practice, I'm going to have you guys also on a separate tab go through the tax data process to find the property. So just let me know when you catch up or if you have questions.
It's different for Salt Lake County, right, Riley?
No, it's the same. The only difference is on the tax data section, you would just select the county of Salt Lake.
Are we going by
Oh.
street name?
I usually do house number or owner name, but in this case, you just like, yeah, let's just pretend, I'm selling my house and I just texted you my address.
Okay, what was?
So with this, you're only going to search the first section of the address, which in this case would be 1385. And then you'll select the county.
I couldn't hear you. Were you talking to me?
I'm kind of talking back and forth to you and Scott. It's not different for Salt Lake County. Karen, you just have to select whatever county the property's in. In this case, it's in Utah County. So in this little checkbox here, I would just say Utah County. It would specify all the houses with 1385 as their street address. And then I would look for this particular one, which is 1385 North, 150 East.
Okay, so you just went to tax. You're on the MLS and you went to tax data, right?
Yep. So you go search, tax data search.
Okay.
Tax data search, and then you're going to go in this little search box, you're going to check the house number, little bubble, and then you'll type in the first part of the address in the search bar, which is 1385.
How did you get to tax data? I am.
Real quick, so hover over search on the Utah real
there you
estate, and at the
Uh-huh.
bottom
Okay,
right
got it.
corner, you've got tax data.
I always forget what that is. Okay, I need to remember.
Oh, you're totally fine. And then now that you're in this section, you're gonna select the house number bubble. In the house number search bar, you're just gonna type in 1385 for the first part of the address, and you'll select the county of Utah on the left-hand side.
Perfect. Okay.
And then you're
I
gonna hit
just-
search.
What I was talking about was going on Utah County, because Utah
Oh.
County, you can just go look up the tax data, but Salt Lake
Yep,
County, we
Salt
have
Lake
to go
County,
through the MLS. Right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and either way, I would do it through the MLS, just so when you're working a CMA, it's all in one spot. But yeah, with Salt Lake County, they have a little, like, outside of the Utah real estate, they're a little different. So now that you're at 1385, you pull up all the properties, you're gonna find mine, which is like, I don't know, within the first 10 down. You'll click the little blue link. It will bring you to the tax data sheet. And then you're gonna see kind of like, owner names, whatever, previous MLS listing, you're gonna check that. You'll click the MLS sheet button, and then you'll end up here. So everybody, just to confirm, you went through tax data, you understand that, okay, you've got the MLS sheet pulled up, perfect. So if you look at the screen up here really quick, you're gonna, little cheat code too, just click new tab if you want to open up a new tab. So it just duplicates what you're already working on. And then we're gonna start going through the CMA process. So you go to search, residential full. So you guys should end up here, referring back to the instructions. You're gonna find the following details out about the property. So I'm just gonna have you guys call out as I ask these questions. What year was my house built?
Okay.
Was it 02?
97.
You're totally good.
Because I pulled up the old MLS too.
Oh, you-
I'm gonna solve it set up. I read out too, that's why.
Oh, you're totally fine. Okay, so built in 1999. What's the square footage? What's the acreage?
23,
Okay, what's my garage count?
2,
Is my basement finished?
100%,
Awesome. How many bedrooms do I have?
5,
How many bathrooms?
Mhm.
3.5,
Perfect. What city is my house in?
Springville.
What's the build type and style?
Triangle,
Mhm.
triangle.
Perfect. Did anybody else? Did you get that? Are you stuck out of it?
Yeah, it's not letting me get in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, did Hunter set it up when you,
No, I have access to the MLS, but it's like, because I haven't accessed it on my tablet before, it's like, you don't recognize this device, and it's telling me the verification code that
they're sending?
just send me is wrong. So, we'll see.
Well, no worries. If you get caught up, we'll catch you up. You'll have an opportunity to do the second one, and I'll even let you work off the laptop if you'd like to, but. Okay, so now that we have that information, we're gonna go back to the search category and your instructions here. So I'm just gonna have you guys do it and I'll check your work. So from the home screen, obviously you pull up residential full search. Statuses, you're gonna select active, backup, under contract, and sold. So you're over on the search category. You got a drop down that says statuses. You're gonna select those 4 statuses. Why would we select those 4 specifically, do you think?
Because you're gonna show more realistic prices.
So yeah, so yep, and so what we do is I want to look, especially in today's market, not only at what's sold, but what's actively, being worked on in the market, whether it's active, under contract, because then I can kind of get a temperature check. Because if I look at sold data only, I might look 3 months ago when rates were 5.5, not 7.3, right?
If it's under contract, you call the listing agent.
A lot of the time, yeah, it just depends on the situation. If I'm doing this just as like, hey, I'm just giving someone an idea of their value,
Mhm.
then no. But if it's like, I'm gonna go to a listing appointment, and sell someone's house, yes. And truthfully, for best practice, it's not a bad idea to do it either way, but it depends. If someone's just saying, hey, I just am curious about my house value, I don't want to sell right now. I'm just kind of curious, you know what I mean? It's a different
Yeah.
situation. So anyhow, so we got statuses selected. So everybody's at this point. Okay. Then we're going to select number of days back. So I like to just type over in the total number of days. I say in this 90 days, just best rule of thumb right now, don't go further back than 60. With rates as crazy as they are, it's not like, July, August is going to look a hell of a lot different than it does now. So let's, for today's purposes, say 60 days back. And it's just right. So scroll up just a little bit. Other way, go up right here, right there, number of days back. Say 60. And then bedroom count. So that's our next thing we're going to select. Have you guys find that on your screen. And I normally would do a 2-bedroom spread, so I'll say no less than 3 bedrooms. I mean, realistically, chances are the bedrooms and bathroom count are usually the last thing I'll throw in, or the thing I consider the least, at least initially, because a lot of the time when I say, hey, I just want to look at tri-multi levels in Springville that were built, within 10 years of this one and this square footage, they're all going to be about the same thing. It's very rare I have to be like, oh, I'm going to exclude the one odd 7-bedroom one, because like they're not going to be, there's certain times that's the case, but just for today's practices, we'll have you guys throw that in there. So you go, if you scroll down, keep going, Scott, I'll show you. If you scroll down close to the bottom, probably like 3/4 the way down, there's a little grid looking thing. Scroll up just a little bit. That has everything laid out. So square footage, bedrooms, it's called it's right by details. It's called square foot bath bed details. So on the bedroom section, you'll throw a 3 in on the total. So up top, total, left-hand side, other side. Yep. So it's from blank to blank, right? So you're on the low end, you're going to select 3. And then bathroom count, in this case, I'm not going to have you guys do it because it's not incredibly crucial, but that's at least how you would do it if you're going to, specify. The next thing we're going to specify is the year built. So it's best practice to do 10 years older and 10 years newer than the subject property. So obviously if the house is built in 2016, it doesn't matter. You just leave the other side open. You'd go down to 2006. In this case, you're going to go up to 2009 and down to 1989. So if you scroll, let's see where it's at. I'll kind of do it with you guys as we go along. All good? Perfect. Yep. And then you'll actually open a new tab.
So your bill,
CMA creating.
I usually don't do that tool, to be honest with you. I do. They added that like recently. I'm like, I guess I'm old school now, I can say. I residential full myself for a couple reasons, because then when I'm done actually searching,
Sorry,
yeah, you could.
for the meeting in different places.
You're totally fine. We're doing, this is for the coaching program. If you want to join us and learn about
CMA, yeah.
yeah, do you want to?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry for this one.
Oh, you're totally fine. Do you want to grab, you have to, yeah, I was gonna say, we gotta grab a chair real quick. Oh, you're totally fine. We're doing one more after this, so you'll have time to work with us for sure.
Okay.
Once you get the residential full open though, it should look like this.
Yeah, and then you want active?
Yes, so we're gonna do stat. So active, under contract, backup and sold.
Okay,
Okay, I'm just gonna breeze through this with her real quick, just to catch up. Property type, I didn't have you guys specify that. You're welcome to really quick. So single family, we're gonna look at multi-level homes specifically. So you've got single family, multi-level
Where do you say try multi-level?
style.
Oh, style. Oh,
Yep.
style,
you have
okay.
to scroll down to.
Mhm.
So you want this in this?
Yep.
And for the square feet, do you put that in?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. Here in just a second, we will. Kind of bouncing around. When I wrote this, I could have improved the order of it for sure, but that's why I'll just probably do the next one with you guys and have you follow along or kind of do it as a group. Okay, so everybody, just to be clear, at least obviously Elizabeth, we got a couple things to add, but you've at least got statuses, style, and property type plugged in.
From the days back.
Yep, days back. So Elizabeth, you're gonna look at date fields, number of days back, you're gonna select 60. And then you'll scroll down to year built. We're gonna do a 10-year spread. So we're gonna do 1989 to 2009. To the right of that is square footage. You're gonna do 500 square feet above, 500 square feet below. So I'm gonna go down to 1,500 square feet. So you're done by year built on site. And I'm gonna go up to 2,500 square feet.
What was the criteria you're using for that?
You go up 500
500
above,
500
500 below, yep. Or I should say below and above, so it matches the search field. So remind me, what's the square footage of the house?
It's 2084. 28.
So I usually, even if it's like, I would just do 2,500, 1,500, I usually don't.
Yeah. You don't go 500 over or under, or sorry, that's the max you would want.
Yeah, yeah, and I usually don't, if it's like 28, I don't throw that in, it's just like whatever, most
Yeah.
houses don't have random square footage like that, but, okay, so once everybody's at this point.
Did you round it? Did you say you would just round it? I mean,
Yeah.
1,500 to 2,500.
Yep, exactly.
So for the date fields, it's the sold date that we're going. Back on.
So how it works is when you select
Oh,
statuses,
I
you're
see.
saying, I want to see all the properties that match these statuses up to this amount of days back. So it's not gonna match the property sold date, it'll just match what's sold in the area
I
related
just
to that.
didn't see the top. We're
Oh, you're good, no worries. That's the thing, they make this so, I feel like they should take all the most commonly used ones and put them at the top and everything else should be below, but instead you gotta like chicken scratch your way around like 50 different fields. Okay, so let's just confirm where everybody's at. So at this point, we've selected your build, we've got square footage dialed in. We know the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, we've got build style and type, which I'll show you how to do the city here in just a second. We've got our statuses selected, you're built. So the last step, once you have all that information plugged in, you've got two options, okay? You can either come over here to city and select the city and say Springville, which is not a bad practice, but the best thing to do, at least initially, is you're gonna say, I wanna see everything within 1 mile of this property. That's what an appraiser uses, is a 1 mile radius to appraise a property. And so to do so, I'm gonna click on view map. It's gonna pull up this map tool here in a second if it'll load.
The radius one.
And then
I don't know how come I got.
you're
that
good,
there.
hit refine. And then you'll scroll down just a little bit. Keep going, city, look, keep going. Right there, city, and then you'll say Springville. Okay,
Oh, okay.
so just quick raise of hands, who's at this map section? Okay, so now with the radius tool, which is this little circle tool, it's gonna pull up this little blue section here. You're gonna click set, hit cancel. You don't want to jump to, okay, so you got this little blue circle selected. It's gonna say radius tool, click to drag or select radius and location. This should pop up on your screen. I'm gonna say 1 mile in the radius box, and then simple little cheat code is I just go grab the MLS number off of the report.
So click on the little blue icon over here that says set
Set radius,
radius.
yep.
Okay.
Then you're gonna select 1 mile for the radius. Once you do that, you've got to put something in the little search bar to specify where it's actually looking at the radius. So I come and grab the MLS number. You can type in the address by hand if you want to, but the MLS number is just quicker. And then I'll literally just plug the MLS number in this spot. So let me know when everybody's caught up here. You've got 1 mile in the radius, and you've got the MLS in the search bar. Okay, so now I'm going to hit set criteria. We're going to see what pops up. Okay, so I've got 2 active listings. What is the,
And that's sold.
yes. So although when I pull CMAs, I look at active, I do need to find something that's sold.
So you're gonna have to go further back then.
Correct. So everybody's at this spot, correct? Where you got these 2, you'll see the big circle and you'll see 2 little indicators, okay? Over here to the right-hand side and hit hide map. And then we can start playing with the variables. So just for fun, we're gonna double our time back. We're gonna go to 120 just to see if we get anything else. And I didn't pull comps on this before, so we're investigating this together.
Well, when you said the time, like, you fix 6 months, 3 months,
I do right now 60 days.
60 days.
60 days, because interest rates are going up every month. And so if I go back to like July, way different than now. Yeah, like by July, we probably had lost half our buyer pool. By now, I would be surprised if we're like lost 75% of our buyer pool. So demand is just so much more down, if it makes sense. So again, I still have two at 120 days. So now I've got a couple options.
And the days back, is it up top?
Up top, scroll down just a little bit.
So you say in the case that I can find one
Okay.
sell in this period of time to go.
Further back.
How much for the?
The most I'd probably go is 150 days back, to be honest. You got two variables there. This would be my thought process. You either go days back, and if that doesn't work, you increase the radius, so you do the whole city. If that doesn't work, then you got to start looking at the surrounding cities, which is risky because something in Provo or Payson or something, or Spanish Fork is not really going to be equivalent, but sometimes that's just how it is, right? Especially if the market is. So we're going to start with days back. We're going to say 150. And I've still got
I had to
two,
go to 270.
270.
to
Okay.
get 5 matches.
So for now, let's bump it back down to 120. And instead of doing the radius, that's best practice. But again, if that doesn't work, you scrap it. You're going to come over back to the map tool. So hit view map. You're going to actually just cancel out your radius. You'll go back to the search bar by hitting hide map, top right corner. And now we're just going to select Springville as an entire city, and we'll just see what happens. Still two, okay. That's a good time.
I see the map before, but it's not necessarily the circle.
Mhm.
You can choose area. rather
Yep.
than The other shape,
Yep.
so that would be more accurate.
Yeah, the circle for sure. So an appraiser is going to look within a 1 mile radius. And so I use that same tool mostly because I'm not a good artist, like drawing it doesn't work out well for me. It's too hard. If there was a specific time when I'm looking, let's say in Cedar Hills, and I'm trying to compare like Juniper Heights or another neighborhood, and I want to specify a neighborhood, I would use that tool. But most of the time it's 1 mile, like I do, it's clean cut same way every time until I need to change it, right? Because that's how you get to the best data first, and then you can get creative with it as you need to, figure some stuff out. So in this particular case, I don't really know if I feel super comfortable going back, 270 days, and I definitely don't know if I want to go outside of the city. If I were to, what I would do is I would just look at what is for sale currently in Provo, what's for sale currently in Springville, what's for sale currently in Spanish Fork. How does it compare to this property? So where should I price it based on that? Because in today's market, it's basically a game. You have to be priced better than the next guy. So we're just going to quickly look at these two comps. So I'm going to teach you guys this really quick. So have view results, top left corner. And how I look at comps before I send it to my client is you'll see this little section pop up here. You're going to select this little checkbox in the top left corner. So selected listings 2 of 2. You've got view reports. You've got a couple options. You could go straight to CMA report. I'm not going to. I like to look at the agent full report first, because then I can review the information before I get started. So let's just quickly, as a group, talk about this house compared to my house. And this is because right now, like we're all in the same spot. I'm not going to be able to say, hey, this house is, well, I could probably tell you what it's worth, but I'm not gonna be able to say, oh, based on the sold data, there's 3 solds in the neighborhood and this is what it is, right? So if I were sitting with myself as a seller, the best information I could get is these 2 that I found and maybe some from the surrounding areas. So if I were about to go meet with a seller and I'm looking at this, what do you think I'm going to pay attention to? Because I'm doing a comparison, right? So
The square footage.
Okay. So I want you guys to analyze it. I'm not going to say anything. I want you guys to kind of take the conversation where you think it needs to go. And I might just chime in to, correct or nudge you in a different direction.
Look at, I want to look at it.
Less square footage.
Okay. So we're looking at the one that's at
Its price per square foot is higher.
Mhm.
Yours was.
Okay,
Smaller lot.
And
lot.
let's look at the date sold because.
that one's active. It just hit the market
Oh, yeah.
yesterday.
Active,
Mhm.
that
So-
one's active.
Let's start with this first one. So I'm going to compare written specs, but what else do you think would be important to see? Mhm. So outside of
Main living area, maybe. like-
outside of specs, so outside of numbers, what,
We wanna
Oh,
compare,
these
like,
conditions.
okay, how would I?
Because if you look at this one, it's more outdated versus. yours.
So you would look at the photos. There you go. That's what I was going for.
Photos, yeah.
So we pull up the photos and we start burning through them together. Mine's not loading, so we'll see.
And the other one is.
Mine won't load, but I'm looking at Scott's computer. So everybody kind of go through the photos on your own. And then let's kind of hash this out and just make an assessment.
These are pretty nice, pretty clean. This one's pretty clean. Looks like it's been updated in some areas. It's got a modern backdrop.
Yours is nice.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's really clean. Photos look really professional.
Oh yeah, that's clean too.
There's an agent that owned it, which is hilarious.
Yeah, we mean when they saw that, it's like it went from an agent to an agent.
That's nice too.
Okay. Do you have a chalkboard wall? That's black, or is it
Which
just
room?
black? Yeah, in the picture, you have a black wall.
Oh, is it the computer room?
Yeah.
No, that's just like the wall's just gray. Yeah, I think I could do a chalkboard wall. That'd be dope, but
That would be good.
no, it's just
Does it get
That's
random.
nice.
Mhm.
That's a nice one as well. It looks like, I mean, this other one isn't sold, but it looks like it's right in the same price
Yep.
range. And the pictures look somewhat comparable.
Yep.
How do you see the second?
Scroll
So I
down.
have two open.
Yep. Just if you stack them how I showed you, where you select both in the active or agent flow report, it'll just pull them up just like this. You can just go right through them. Okay, so let's look at that. And obviously mine, I bought mine last August, so it's not a recent sold. So you're not comparing it like, you're basically using what's active right now to make your best guess at what mine could sell for today. That's really what the conversation is. So we went through the first one, comparatively, a couple things stand out. 500 less square feet, which obviously makes a difference for living space. It's still comparable though, because it's within the 500. Fairly updated, but not exactly the same. There's other things. Mine has like a deck and different things. There's no, I don't know if you'd say there's a hard cash value on that, but it's something to take consideration for like what a buyer would probably think about it in comparison. So let's move on to the second one really quick, and then we'll make our assessment. So going through the second one, what stands out to you?
It's a little bit bigger.
Okay. What else?
It's older,
Older?
yeah,
Yep.
6 years.
This one is very outdated.
Okay.
Doesn't have as
Looks
many
original.
Okay. What'd you notice about how long it's been on the market?
Would have more bedrooms.
Okay.
Up to 10 grand.
Anything else stand out to you?
Lower square price.
Mhm.
Smaller lot.
Okay. So going through and looking at these two properties, the one that's been on the market 50 days, chances are it's not going to sell at 499. They price dropped it for the load 10 grand. How long ago? They dropped it almost a month ago. Still hasn't sold. Chances are that that property needs to come down another, I don't know, 3 to 7% at least. Right, just to even get traffic. So with that being said, let's just assume this property here at 499, it's probably really like, I mean, in my mind, like probably like a 469 property. Like it's quite a bit lower to sell, I would assume. But we're just looking at what's active today, right? And you're just going to communicate that to your seller, right? So what would you tell me? Looking at the top property at 490, where would you place mine comparatively to these value-wise? Like what's your best guess? What do you think it would sell for today?
The other is going down.
Mm-hmm.
10 grand, but it's not enough, even when it's bigger and more rooms and, you know.
Okay, no, that's totally fine. That's good assessment. Joel, what do you think?
Probably. I don't know. Probably, at least what the other one is asking, 499.
Mm-hmm.
There's, yours is. Like it looks a lot newer.
Okay,
It's about the same size. So you want to like price competitively?
I don't know. I'm just asking you what it's worth. What would that conversation go like if you could give me two values?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Like if you wanna wait. Or something kind of.
Well, yeah, like, because, so what you just asked basically is how motivated am I?
Yeah.
So how would you approach that conversation with the seller? Like if you were to say, hey, here's a range. You could maybe get this, but we might sit for a second, or it might be a little challenging, or if you wanted to sell quickly and play it safe, you'd be here. What would those numbers be to you?
Well, I just put in the 3 to 7% to see kind of what that would give me, and the 7%, it was 465. So maybe that's where you, if that's kind of a typical range that you're saying, maybe that's how the conversation goes. Okay,
For that
Price.
one in particular, because the one that's been on for 50 days, if I was that listing agent
yeah,
at 499 and they'd been on for a month and still hadn't price dropped and hadn't got under contract, I'd be recommending no less than a 5% price reduction. So I just said 3 to 7 as more like a
range.
range, 5 being average.
I'm gonna say 479.
I'm not offended by it. I don't plan on selling, so you guys could tell me 430 and I wouldn't care. But that's good. So 479, is that your aggressive or is that like top dollar?
I think in this market, probably top dollar.
Carlos, what do you think?
Like 470 or 80.
What was your range?
475.
I was thinking higher, but I have less experience with this. I think you could probably get it for 490.
I mean, I've been trying to watch what's happening with homes when I'll see it, because I'm getting the notifications of new homes. You also get that notification if a price drops.
Yeah,
And what I notice a lot is that they drop by 10 or 15,000.
Yep.
You know, and some of these are newer and bigger homes. That's what I have been seeing out there.
yep,
So if you wanted to tell them, look, you could do this and see if it waits, you know, if you just wait, or we could go to the right price and get it sold.
What are the pros and cons of that? Let's talk about that.
Well, the pros would be you get, that they would be able to, if their situation is, I need to move faster, or I've come on contract for another house, then you need to maybe encourage them to do that a little bit faster.
Yep.
But if they have time to wait, you can test it.
Yeah. What would be the pros of testing it?
If it stays on the market a long time, then people think there's something wrong with it.
Yeah. So the payoff would be what?
The payoff would be to get it done quicker so that people don't think there's something wrong with it.
So if you went on the high side, there's always the chance you may get the one buyer who's willing to pay it and they may make more money. But what happens if they don't? And you said, what do you think is
It's gonna end up in the lower price anyway.
yeah, but most likely selling for less because you didn't start there. So time of market works against you so this one at 499, like even if it was at 469 today, they might get a couple showings, but I don't know that it would be like done, right? Especially with that days on market. Now I'm gonna ask you another question. Let's spice this up a bit. What did I pay for the house? How do you navigate that?
Oh, there's the history.
That conversation, like.
Just in general, yeah.
there's
So
a-
I paid 5, right? And based on the conversation, I don't have equity anymore.
You
Right.
can go to the prior listing. Can't you?
Oh, yeah, look on this one. We're over on the,
If you go to the history and then go to prior listing.
yeah, you're looking at the one that's on the market right now.
Yeah.
How often does that happen though? Because you literally bought this property like last year.
That's like unusual, right?
So most people don't move in
A year.
It's like, what is it, like 3 to 7 years?
But it happens. It definitely happens. I had
But if you go back, then you can see what equity they have in it to kind of get a feel for
yeah, what they paid.
what they might be unreasonable, or what, hey, they're still gonna make money on this house.
Yeah.
I had a deal that they bought it the sellers bought it last November, and then they sold it in June of this year.
I've had
But
numerous
they had a
clients.
Job thing come up, so they had to move.
I just got off a conversation yesterday with the client who paid $730 for a house in March, and today it's worth $650.
They how your people are. Their appraisal came in $50,000 once.
Damn.
I had a buyer
Mhm.
that 3 years ago bought a new townhome in Salem, and it's not done yet.
Wow.
3 years waiting for the new construction. But she have a equity of 70,000. because when Chivo was recently in the market
Mhm.
before pandemic. So it was a good price, but now because it's a new construction, they are pricing higher to the new market. Anyways, she has $70,000 difference between the contract because it's nobody is the contract and today contract.
Really,
Yeah, people are still selling that thing, so.
geez. It's wild. This will happen. You're gonna run into people that bought a house 2 years ago, they could be upside down right now. That sounds crazy, but I mean, we've already lost 10% of our values in Utah in the last 4 months, 5 months. House prices are going down an average of 2 or 3% a month across the board.
Yeah, and even when the price go down, she had.
Equity, yeah.
So it's good.
Which is awesome.
It's interesting because there's some new townhomes in American Fork by Keystone.
Yeah.
They're selling for like 500. And I was looking at them and I think like new construction, if you want a contract on new construction, like 437. And then there's another one for sale for like 460.
Yeah.
And then there's one that's listed for 510 by if someone sold it, was trying to sell it, and it's been on the market for 2 months.
Yeah, so I was under contract on one of those and I canceled and I thank God every day I did. I lost $9,000 by doing so, so that was not fun. But I was under contract for 470 on a 3-bedroom Keystone townhome that at the time was worth 500. So I picked it up under their, I worked to deal with the builder because my client had canceled, so I picked it up for his contract price. But by the time I was going to close, my interest rate was going to be around 4.5%, 5%, which I wouldn't have cash flowed. But I was thinking to myself, like, long term, it'll make sense. I've still got equity. And literally the week before I was supposed to go close, someone sold a 4-bedroom for 450 in that community. Like they just undersold the builder by like 50 grand. And since then, it's just been tanking.
Yeah.
So what options in my situation do I have? So I come to you and I say, hey, I want to sell my house. I know that the market's been crazy and it's been appreciating. Awesome. I know things are going down, but I'm feel like, I want to cash out while I still can. What should I do?
I feel like you have to have an honest conversation with them and just,
What's that look like?
you just show them the numbers, like, listen, you're
Mhm.
upside down X amount. If you're comfortable with losing X amount of money, then like,
Mhm. How upside down would I actually be though? Because obviously you said, let's say the highest side, 490. Okay, so we sell the house for 490. Do I actually walk away with 490? Because what do I have to pay?
buyer commission.
How much is 6% of
Yeah.
490? It's like 30 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, 28,000 ballpark. So I'm really, maybe best case scenario, I'm at 460. That's my sales price, right? What most people wouldn't, but let's say I had to. Like what's that look like? What options do you have in that situation? So that the seller can either any ideas?
They can hold it, keep it.
Let's say they're for sure gonna sell it. So I'm selling it no matter what. I have no option. I'm gonna get foreclosed on or something if I don't.
They can keep the price the way it is or not. It just depends on how,
Going to back up.
yeah.
What's up?
Going to back up the stage like a standby and receiving more offers,
Yeah.
something like that.
So outside of marketing, I mean, like,
Oh.
let's assume that's what happens. Like, I have to sell this thing tomorrow. Best case scenario, I'm gonna get 490, but really that's like 460 on paper. And I have to sell it. So I'm gonna go sign the papers. What can I do as a seller, or what can you do to coach me through that scenario? So I can either pay the difference, right? So I can cough up 18, I think I owe like 470 on it. So I could cough up like the difference, 10 grand, 15,000 out of my own pocket. You guys know what the other option is. Let's say your seller has no money. You ever heard of short sell?
Yeah, that's right. You sell it for what you owe, right?
Yep, and then you basically short the bank the difference. Not super common the last couple of years, but I will say if it's November and it's been 1 year since I bought the house and I'm already down 10 grand, right? And this house, back in February, March, I pulled my values. This was worth 550. I could have sold it, made 50,000. So it's really gone down about 60,000 from the last time I looked at my comps, which was back, like I say, March or so. How do you think that will affect other people, let's say another 6 months down the road, or even a year down the road, if things continue how they're going? So what, like you mentioned, having honest conversations, that's something you definitely have to get comfortable with. And because even my client on the phone yesterday, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'd been stressed out. Oh my gosh, I got to call him and tell him. And I was just like, hey man, that's what it is. Like, I can't control the fact interest rates are high. So I'm not going to take ownership for that. We sold his house, his townhome, and made him a ton of money, like stupid amount of money for him to buy this other house. So I'm like, it's kind of a wash. Because if you would have waited to sell your townhome until now, you would have been in a worse situation than you are now. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, I was just gonna say, just generally speaking, know your options, look into that. As time progresses, you'll probably have to learn about short sales, which I've never done, so I can't teach you on. That's something I have to learn as well.
Clay was talking about like the team meeting like 2 weeks ago.
Yep. Yep, and it'll happen. And especially just with the way things are going with inflation and people just being financially stupid the last couple of years. Compound lower, like house prices going down with people's bad financial decisions coming to bite them in the butt. There was I mean, it's just random. I'm just like spitballing here, but this thing is what I'm trying to say is it sounds doom and gloom, but these are actually opportunities. So if you learn how to be the agent that can take care of those situations, open yourself up to so many more potential opportunities to get business. And also be a really good resource and someone who can truly bring value to people by educating them on what their options are, right? Which is how ultimately you get a big business. But I can't remember who told me this, but there's a lender who said there's a massive uptick in refinances, which that sounds counterintuitive, right? Like
Right now?
right now. Why do you think that is?
With these rates.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a specific lender. I'm just making a general statement here, but I heard a story about that. I can remember someone
I
downstairs told
actually
me.
talked to my lender, he told me the same thing, I lunched with him and he's like, yeah, I'm seeing a ton of refinances.
Do you know why though?
Is it going from 15 to 30?
No, has nothing to do with,
The length of the term?
it's, people are refinancing their home to pull out equity to finance the lifestyle they no longer can afford that they decided to pony up for the last 2 years. Does that sound like a recipe for disaster?
Mhm.
So what do you think? I guess what I'm saying, like,
It's a short-term fix. but
short-term fix,
it's coming
but
back to get them.
oh, for sure, because they're taking out equity, they're borrowing money that's probably not going to be there in 6 months. So not only, does it make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have, well, they currently have equity,
it's crazy.
but the market's going down, which they aren't considering. So they could take out that equity,
Mm-hmm.
have a second mortgage
Yep.
or a home
And-
equity line.
Mm-hmm.
And then the market goes, if it's gonna continue to go down, then they could be in trouble.
100%.
And also, I am not very familiar with the HELOC, but that is variable rate or is fixed?
They do, well, most of the time a HELOC is fixed, but there are very variable rate loans.
Okay, that would be disaster.
It's like an arm loan.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Crazy stuff, but this is why learning these things are super valuable, because then if you're the person that's sharing this, I mean, don't go tell everybody in your database, hey, there's people, like, I'm just making a point. Knowing those kind of things helps you understand where the general public is. Not every single person is doing that, but a lot of people are scared right now and they don't know what the heck's going on. So if you can be the person that can take that doom and gloom information, but, I guess present options or just be a resource to people, you'd be surprised how many people will use you off of that alone, because you're not just out here saying like, hey, it's a good time to buy or sell it. I mean, it's remotely, it doesn't really matter. There's always like pros and cons no matter what market you're buying and selling in. But by you knowing these type of things and staying in touch with your SOI, you'd be surprised how many people are probably struggling right now. You don't even know it. And if they knew they had a way out, they probably would take it, is my point. Like you could go pick up a handful of listings in the next month just off of people who are like, they kind of want to panic sell, or that, they may have some financial hardship coming their way or what have you. So let's quickly move on to the next one and then we'll wrap this up. So was that helpful? I know that was a
for sure.
really
Yeah.
weird situation. I didn't expect that, but I feel like it led to a good conversation. Karen, do you have any questions for me? Awesome.
Nope, I
Yeah.
don't. No, I don't. Thank you, though.
No problem. Okay, guys. So on this one, there is a rule. You can't look at the history because I just listed this house and that wasn't on purpose, but so don't look at the history because I don't want to spoil the work we're about to do. But on this one, I am not going to help you at all. So I want you guys to try from heart to remember what process we just went through. And you can also communicate as a group to help each other. I want to test your knowledge and we'll go through it. Oh, sorry. MLS 1660680.
166.
0680.
What was it again?
1660680. Like I said, I encourage you guys to use this as a group dynamic. So if people have questions, you just want to shout stuff out, go ahead. But I'm gonna do my best to stay silent.
What's the difference, for just a question, between when sometimes there's a days back and there's also the sold date? Should you ever use that? You know, is it basically the same thing? If you're
Scroll down. I think I know what you're talking about. Sold date, yeah. I just don't like using the calendar option. I just like typing in a number.
number,
So much easier. Yeah.
okay, that's what I was wondering.
Here,
Seems
I'll
like it's the
zoom in
same
on
thing,
this, my
but-
bad.
Switching works.
Yeah, I know. That's the natural zoom. That's so weird as I zoom. in, I
Sometimes
guess.
it would help to just print this off, whatever you're looking at is the comparable, then you can. Go through it, so.
Before you hit search and look at the comps, I want to make sure everybody's caught up. So when you get to that point, just stop and let me know.
Would this be considered a multi?
Nice job. You guys got a team though, so it's not fair.
Yeah. I mean, we've done it before,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
What did you guys?
I actually didn't know all that stuff that you did though, like the days back, I would always go and select the date versus just typing in a number.
That's what I was doing too.
So.
Way better
I was
type
wondering what
I
the,
love it, that's way better.
Joel, what was your question?
What range did you guys use for the unit code?
I did 1989 to 2009.
Back to your school.
Oh, okay, I thought it was, okay.
I'm gonna eat some food while you guys do this.
What kind of burritos did you get?
They're Beto's. They're super combo. Super bomb.
What day are you on 75 March?
Dude, I failed on day 64.
Oh,
Dude.
you start over?
I'm gonna start up right now, no. I'm super pissed though. So I was in New York and the night before the last day, I was at the workshop. After the workshop, we all got to get together, made dinner as a group. And then I got home at like 11, finished my last workout, didn't get to bed till like 12:31 a.m. And the next morning, slept through my alarm. I had a half hour to get to the workshop. So I was scrambling and I was like, looked at my calendar. I'm like, okay, I'll have 2 hours when I get home. So like, I'm literally going to get home, haul ass home, and I'm going to be up till midnight on the dot, but I'll get my workouts done. And then had to take a train to the airport. They don't announce, like it's a weird area. They don't announce like we're now off on this stop and this we get off anything, right? And so the guy told me, hey, you're like 3-4 stops down. So I'm like, okay, I'm not sure which one it is, but hopefully they'll announce like, okay, get off here if you're going to JFK Airport. They didn't. So the guy comes by and he goes, hey, I need your ticket. I'm like, oh, I'm just on for JFK Airport. He's like, dude, that was the last stop. And I'm like, and he's like, your next stop's not for 45 minutes.
Oh,
So then I was stuck on the train for 45 minutes, then had to circle back. So what ended up happening is I could wait 45 minutes, go to this next stop, get on a train, come back. But this next train wasn't leaving until 5:45. My flight leaves at 6. And then he said, or you can go 4 more stops, which is going to take a little bit longer on the train, but then there's a straight train that takes a half hour back. So I had to cancel my flight and it ended up being 2 hours later to get to the airport and everything else in between. And I literally had to cut a line of 150 people to get through
I
security.
saw you post that.
Like, I'm not joking. Like, I literally had to go and be like, my flight leaves in 20 minutes. Can I cut you? Can I cut you? I had to do that for every single person through. I'm not joking. The line was like to the back of the airport. Sprinted to the gate, get on my plane, end up getting to Salt Lake City right around like 10:30. But by that point, it's like I had to go get my bags and still drive home, or I could just walk out in the airport and do my outdoor workout. But like, you have to get it done by midnight. And so I'm like, I can't. Like, there's just no. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Are you doing the thing that you have to do it for X amount of days, and then if you miss a day,
You start over. 64 days in, it's 75 days. So
Oh.
seriously, is there garbage by you?
Why do you think that's the footage?
What'd you bring to eat?
I got overnight oats and a banana.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
What do you put in your overnight oats?
Like no fat Greek yogurt from Costco because it's like super high protein.
Yes,
Mhm.
I put that in everything. I'll put it in pasta with like buffalo sauce. It's so
Mhm.
good.
That's a good idea. I didn't think
It
about
is really fire.
that.
I eat that every day.
2 packets of oats and honey. I forgot to do peanut butter this one, but
Yeah, I'll do like ground turkey pasta and I put the Greek yogurt in
you
it.
should send me a recipe. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we eat it every day. She doesn't like, I can eat the same thing every day. And this is like the one thing that she can eat every day and she like doesn't. Eat it.
I think I got it. I got it.
Perfect. So everybody, when you get to the point where you think you're done, let's just do a quick temperature check. Everybody there?
Why got 39, that's too much.
Radius,
Already.
days back and days back.
Oh,
So wait, you brought burritos for us and you can't eat burritos? Bless your heart.
I like you
They
guys.
got like Chick-fil-A burritos too. I think me and Joel were the only ones that showed up.
Burritos.
They brought like Chick-fil-A burritos and he's like, well, you guys can have them. I was like, okay. Speaking of those townhomes at Keystone, Ryan Johnson sold his for 500. Like perfect. He sold it in April. And now they're worth like not even that much.
I think he sold it to an agent in our office.
Oh, really?
That's in Campbell. Yep.
Oh. Yes, that's it.
Mhm.
Oh,
He timed it perfectly.
right, I don't know. It was okay.
The only thing I don't like about overnight oats is they're so like,
Thins.
they cotton mouth to the max.
Oh, yeah. Like overnight oats, so they're just convenient because it takes like 5 minutes to make and you just pull out of the fridge.
Mhm.
Again.
All right, everybody caught up? Oh, you're good. What are you stuck on? I want to help you out.
I was okay, but now I lose all my.
How did it like clear criteria?
Yeah, but I am doing it again. I don't know how.
So as a group, let's just go through the,
16. Just go down.
Where did you do sales? What did you sell?
cars. Can you tell?
But you did sales? Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I had my guesses. I wasn't sure what.
What'd you think?
I don't know. Like solar or
I
something.
think summer sales.
I thought summer sales, honestly.
No, I'm happy I didn't, honestly. It would have been good for experience, but.
I did it for 2 summers.
Mhm.
Not for the second one, it's like, yeah.
Logistically, it wouldn't really worked out super well, but and I think long term, like income wise, it paid off to not. But I wouldn't, it's not that I would not recommend it for someone else. That makes sense. Like just for my personal, selling cars is awesome. I ended up hating it at the end, but
Except right in this market today.
oh yeah.
I heard they're car salesmen are just struggling.
But I have some friends over at my old dealership. So when I was there, so when I started, there had been nobody for like the last year that hit 20 cars in a month. So I worked there for like 18 months. I got to the point where I was selling around like 15 a month on average and hit 20. I think in my best month I did like 23. Store record was like 27. Now it's got so much easier for them that it's not uncommon for 3 or 4 of them a month to hit 20. Because if they just grow the dealership and like, volume wise scaled it up. Which is crazy. It's like 10, I mean, that's not that much money, but it's like for car sales, like 10 grand a month is like pretty common there,
What percentage do car sales?
I got paid on a volume plan, so that's why I always aim for as many as possible. So I sold around 15 a month, which is like 6 to 8,000 a month is what I was making there. Now though, like I don't know, the average guy probably makes 60K a year, and on the high side, they're making like 150 at the most as a car salesman. Yeah. Real estate.
Car market's pretty nuts too.
It slowed down a little bit now, but yeah, for a while there, they were like, people would come in, they would not even like budget all on price. Like they're selling cars like, yeah, like that dealership takes care of people. Other ones, not so much. We're like super corrupt, like people are making tons of money. But yeah, they would sell cars like 5-10K over MSRP and stuff at one point.
There's so the Ford Bronco Raptors are starting to come out right now, and there's one for sale in Grapevine, Texas, where my parents live. They'll get MSRP is like 70 grand. You go build one on Ford and everything, and it's like 70 grand after options. Selling it for 150K.
My friend Caden, put in an order for a Bronco, ended up not getting an allocation. So Ford sent him a notice and said, hey, because of the delay, you're one of like a handful that got selected for a Bronco Raptor allocation. He had a dude come into the dealership. Guy heard about it from another salesperson. The guy literally walked up to him and said, I'll write you a check for $30,000 right now if you give me your allocation. And he was like, nope. Because he knew, he's like, if he's willing to pay that now, wait till the vehicle's here.
Oh, yeah.
Sell for like,
Once they start rolling out, it's gonna be like just Bronco in general, because Broncos base, it's like, if you want a Badlands, it's like 48 grand, and they sell for like 75, 80 grand. And that's like, doesn't have a lift or anything, like, it's,
I just went off on a tangent and I just realized that. Sorry, thanks for hanging there. Over here having breakfast, BSing. As a group, really quick, just to make sure we're all caught up and we all went to the steps. So what were our steps? We've got, I'll just quiz you. What are your statuses?
how many do it? I have,
Okay, so you got active, backup, under contract, sold. How many days back did we go?
60
Okay, what's the build style and type?
It's ranch. something.
Rambler Ranch,
Yep.
single
Exactly.
family.
Okay, what's our year spread? Okay, what year was it built? Perfect.
Yeah.
What's our square footage?
2,500.
Okay, so we're gonna do,
2,000 to 3,000
Perfect.
basically.
and how many comps are showing up in your guys' matches?
I had 8.
I have 5.
I have 2. I think I did well.
No, you're good. Let's go through it. So who did radius of 1 mile? Who specified a city? In addition
Oh,
to the
no, not
radius?
city,
Okay, no, that's fine. So there's,
just Utah.
yeah, no, you're good. Perfect. So let's walk through yours. I'd love to see. So on the left-hand side of your screen, there's a button that says search criteria. It's a drop down. Click that. You'll see,
Left-hand side.
like on, like lower left-hand side, search
Oh, okay.
criteria.
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
Search
let's go
criteria.
through that together. What do you got?
I mean, it's got,
Utah, that's it.
I think the only thing I
Highlight.
didn't do is I didn't do, the 10 years. Thing.
Above and below?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
You were
Okay.
built in
You
here.
had 2.
Yeah, I had 2.
So you have something that you did was tighter than what they did, if that makes sense, like
Yeah.
more stringent. So I'm wondering what that is. So let's go through.
This city's in Orem, the other house is in Riverton.
Oh, weird.
Was your city selected as Orem?
I didn't select a city, but I did put in 12 bedrooms and
Mm,
bathrooms.
Let me look at my map.
You're totally good.
I
Should
thought
we
I
put
put
in
the
the city?
address. What should be like this exact location is what I put in.
You're totally good. We'll try to troubleshoot it. So arguably you should have between 5 and 8, at least I'm assuming. Let me hear you just quickly do it myself. Elizabeth, you want to, if you want to clear your criteria, I'll bust through it with you really quick. We'll make sure we're on the same page. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you guys tell me the answers and what I'm doing. So statuses, what am I doing? Okay, what's my build type and style?
Rambler, single family.
Okay. What's the next thing I select?
60 days back.
Now what? Okay, where am I going? What's next? Okay, so 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. Now what?
3 bedrooms.
Anything else?
What was the square feet? Sorry.
You're good. 2,000 to 3,000. It's a trick question. How do I specify the location?
The map with MLS number.
What's my radius?
Mile.
What's my MLS number?
60, 68.
1660680.
Yeah.
Okay. Caught up, Elizabeth? Oh, good. Perfect. Yeah, we got 11.
I put in 5 bedrooms.
Okay.
On the total, do I put the total number of bedrooms or?
I would just clear
I'm
bedrooms for
just
now.
gonna take out, I put 5 and 3, so that's probably why I'm a little bit more refined.
For now,
For now, do you want me to take out the 3?
yep, 3, and I'd even take out 5, and also 5, because you did, that's the minimum. So you said no less than 5 bedrooms,
Oh,
which there might be a couple that are like 4. So for now, once you get to that point,
you want me to delete the 5 and put 5 in to the max?
or no, I wouldn't even do 5 to the max. I would just delete bedrooms
Just
altogether. for
delete
now.
the bedrooms,
Mhm.
okay.
So
Yeah,
you
no,
should have
no
11.
problem.
Perfect. So I'll have you catch up Dorian, or if you want to do it on his laptop. So we're gonna have view results. Okay. And then we're gonna just click the
For all 11.
mhm. For now.
Okay.
You start off with like the wider spread and then you'll narrow it down.
Okay.
So for now, we're just gonna pretend we got all 11. So we're gonna select all of them. We're gonna do agent flow report. For the sake of time, we're not gonna dig into every single little one. Our first thing is we're gonna look at the first photo and see if the build style or the styling matches the listing we're comparing it to. So this first one,
Bit different, garage in the front.
okay, so you might have a different, yours might be in a different order.
Oh,
Yeah, it's okay.
let me
Uh,
look what order, I mean.
You're fine. I think you have the same comps, but for some reason, when I hit agent flow report and you did, it's like 2 different orders.
Yeah, number 3 door. It's really nice.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, because you can select on the top to see what order you in, right?
mhm.
So you can do by
You
list,
can sort it.
sort by list.
His first house was originally, it's on our contract, was originally listed at 664.9.
Okay, let's all find that
Is
comp.
this,
Right there.
is this, did you just do the list down like this, or is it
Yep.
675?
I didn't do that, but that's okay. We're gonna go here. And then you'll look for,
Market rate is
669.
664.9. It says original list price and then
we're just gonna talk about this one real quick.
The newest person standing.
that's on their contract, so I don't.
Okay, so, yeah, so this one right here is listed at 664.9. Its list price now is 589.9. It was originally listed in October. I don't know why they dropped it that.
How do you check when they drop the price again?
You hit history.
Okay.
And then you'll see kind of like a spread. So that one build style wise is not super comparable. Because the garage is kind of pushed out to the front and so on and so forth. So just for the sake of time today, we're just gonna unselect that one. We'll just move on. Okay,
So one question.
Yep.
How I can have this together with this? With
Other
yes.
MLS?
How can you, when you're looking at,
so real quick. So you'll click up here, top right corner, you'll click new tab. On the MLS.
If MLS,
Yeah, Utah real estate, top
New
right
tab,
corner, new
new
tab.
tab.
And then what you'll do is you'll just in this, whoops.
by MLS number.
Yeah, search by MLS number and you'll type in the MLS number
Okay.
for the report you want to compare to, and you can sit and bounce back and forth.
Mhm.
So we're gonna do this one a little quick and dirty, have a conversation about it. So really, we're just gonna quickly go through and identify which ones look similar. I will tell you, I was hoping this didn't happen, but my listing did pop up in this array. Yeah, so we're gonna unselect it, pretend we didn't see it, because I don't want you guys to use it to base your list price, because truly based on comps, we did not price it based on comps, which I'll explain. So go through your 11, and I just want you guys to, as a group, choose the top 3 you think are as close as possible. And then we're all going to talk about which ones we chose and why, kind of establish a basic list price. And then I'll quickly at the end just show you guys how to actually take that data and make a CMA. So present it. Is that fair?
Yeah.
how many do you want?
3.
3.
Mhm.
That one you were just looking at was, the square footage was significantly less as well, so. sometimes I'll go through that and see if there's like a big variance on it.
If it's within the range though, I would
If it-
base it more
If
on,
it looks like it matches, because I think people would look at it, and go, that doesn't look like my house,
Mhm.
because even if it is
You know
similar. Yeah,
Well, you have walked through somebody's house before you give them a CMA?
Would I have? Most of the time, no.
No,
Mm-mm.
you just pull it up on the MLS and look at the pictures from the past.
And if it hasn't been listed before, I always ask the seller like, you know, what have you done to the house recently? Try to get an idea on what condition it could be in, but sometimes you're going in blind, like sometimes, and that's why it's important for you to pick comps that are as close as possible to the property, but also give you a range, because if I walk into a property and all my comps are fully remodeled and beautiful, and this house isn't, well, then I know I can use that as a almost ammo and say, hey, listen, your house doesn't quite look like this. And to get it to this point would cost, 10% of the price, so we're gonna list ours here, does that make sense? Yeah, a lot of the time you've never seen the house in person, or half the time photos you wouldn't even have access to, so. You can always pick the seller's brain and just kind of identify what they've done to the house recently, and I usually just say, hey, have you done any recent updating? They might say yes, they might say no. They say yes, I kind of pick their brain on it and go from there.
One of these houses looks like the exact same.
Is it Chicago Peak Drive?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not the one.
Okay,
Move on from that.
looks very similar though. Don't look at that one.
No, that's the list right now. I just listed it this week after we prepared the slides, so I wasn't
Is that
Oh.
your client that texted you?
mm-mm,
They told us about?
different one. The other one's in Harriman, different property though.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Same as that kitchen. And that one sold already, is it?
What's the average home price in Riverton? This is in Riverton, right?
Mhm. That's a good question. Let me find out.
So do you think that the reason, for example, like something gets listed and people are doing such big price drops is because they're just not running good comps, or
Well, I'd even say that comps are like more of a ceiling now. They used to be an indicator of, I could list it around here and sell it for here. Now it's like, this is what it was. We're like less now.
less?
I had a house in Sandy that my seller ended up canceling. So good. Then getting back together, they were getting divorced. It was a crazy situation, but we listed it for 575. The most recent sold was the street over like a week prior for 580, and there was one 500 square feet more. That's a bit much, but over 6 in the same neighborhood. And when we priced it, we were priced well compared to everything else. We dropped it all the way down to 539, didn't get a single offer. And that's with comps being at 580 to 6. So it just goes to show you that even underpriced houses are still not selling. It takes some finessing, I would say, to make it work. And I'm curious to hear when you guys have your comps, what you price this house at, because we use that as part of the conversation of where I actually ended up pricing it and why.
So that's just what we're. Yeah, I don't. This one's hard. Yeah, I know, we saw that one.
With that many comps, it can be tricky to sort through.
At least the seller won't lose money on it.
True that.
When they buy it.
25.
Just hate wallpaper. One of the
Oh,
bathrooms is like an orange trim.
Took out a bunch of them, but I went back to refine search and then put them all back in.
Unselected.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, keep that one. We have 4 comps. We have. So you want to have 3?
So you want us to pick which ones best match it?
In your opinion, yeah.
This one's a really good one. Yeah, same way out. Let's get rid of this one. This one's too modern. Or should we keep it? Because it's just a kitchen that's updated, but the rest of the house is very.
This is a really bad picture.
Yeah.
Trees in front.
That's my listing.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I don't care. I agree. When they bought the house, all the trees had fallen off. And so it looked, if you go to the, I'll show you the old listing.
Yeah. Go
But
back to
yeah.
the history.
Feel free, yeah. Go back to 2020, they bought it like, yeah, March. That big ass tree had no leaves, so you could see the house perfectly, but looks a lot better in that photo.
I have 3, but I have no idea if they're good or not.
No judgment, so we're winning.
All right, I got this down to, for me, it's 5, but
So let's just, as a group, collectively decide on 3. So I'd love to hear from you guys first, since you finished first. What are the 3 you chose? Great.
We have, we have 3 or 4.
We have 4.
Okay. I don't know. What are the top?
So read off the MLS number and then just raise your hands if you chose the same one. We'll start there.
So this one is 1839961.
Anybody else choose that?
Yeah. Oh my god, that's a good one. 1839961.
I didn't
That's like a
choose,
blue
I didn't
one.
choose that.
Because that one doesn't look super modern.
Okay.
The other one is 1841637.
We've got multiple MLS. That's cool.
Put a space between.
I'd say.
Oh, yeah. I want to have the exact numbers. 1843322.
I got that one.
Yes.
Awesome. Is that yours 3?
Yeah.
What is the other one?
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
I thought that the one that looks similar to it is 1846594.
6594. Okay, any others you want to add?
I did 1828376.
Joel, anyone add?
I got one, but I couldn't take classes. 1849575.
Okay.
Also in the same way. See.
Hmm.
I don't know.
No, that's fine. No worries. Joel, do you want to add any?
No, I put 1828376.
Well, it's already done that one. Yep.
Oh, okay, good. And I guess I have the same as you. Okay.
So let's look at these 6. We'll narrow it down. So this one right here is the listing. So we're gonna unselect. So now we got 5.
I do actually go to them.
You're totally fine, man. Where would you price it? Let's just ballpark based on what you just saw.
Well, everything I've been seeing is way more than 400,000. From what I've seen, I'd probably put it in like probably at least low fives,
Mhm.
515 maybe,
Sounds good.
would be my guess.
That's all I asked for. We'll go through it. We'll do more practice soon, but if you need something, man, reach out. If not, I will. Sorry, I might not see you for like 2 weeks, so if you need me, give me a call.
Okay.
There, man. Okay, so let's go through these really quick. So we got 1846594. I would agree. I think it's fairly comparable. So we'll keep that one.
If I take one.
Oh, no, please. It's bulking season, man. Okay, 1843322. Yeah, that's very similar. I would agree. 1841637. I think it's, yeah, like a little different exterior style, but similar enough. At this point, we're just using what we got. 1839961. The build style is different. So it doesn't really look like the same style of home, but spec wise, it's pretty similar.
Yeah, I took that one out because it didn't look the same for me.
Yep, so we can keep it just for the sake of having one odd man out. And this one here, I completely agree. This is a comp. This is our only sold comp. This is 182. I got a knife there too, if you guys want to cut them or anything.
Oh.
I did that.
Come on, Wendy.
One of these maxes.
So
For yourself.
5 out of the 6, I agree with. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Where would you price it based on looking at these?
So it looks like for the most part, these are right around 599 by 600,000. So within 3,000, you're right around 6,000. So if you wanted to compare and get this sold, actually this,
Yeah, don't ignore that
don't
one.
ignore that
Yep.
one. So to get it sold, you probably want to get under that so that people are like, okay, these are the same. I feel like these are the same houses, but this one's priced better.
Yep.
So you want to go under that.
Okay.
I was gonna say 569 9.
Is that because you saw it?
I actually didn't see
Okay,
it.
fair.
She removed it before I saw it.
I can see it, but
I was
I
gonna say
mean,
between that and 575.
What else you got?
So basically, based on the market, it's almost 682 days in the market would be need to be lower at this moment, like a 7%.
So yeah, this one right here is interesting because it was listed all the way back in July. So they listed it at 629 in July. They sold it for 595 at the end of September. And it was on the market the second time for almost 30 days before it closed, and they sold it for 595. They also paid concessions of 5,000, which are closing costs. So if I'm looking at that one, and I'm saying, okay, it technically was in August, around end of August, when it actually like officially went under contract and sold. Then yeah, I would say it needs to be below that. I don't know if I would say. Yeah, and this one's also remodeled.
that's the one that sold. That
Yeah,
got
the one
remodeled.
sold comp, yeah.
And the comp is now up today.
When did it sell?
I'm still gonna use it because it's the only one I got.
Yeah.
And it's actually a great comp, the remodeled one is, but I would not use it to say your house is worth this today, because is it?
Yeah.
Remodeled also, so like listed a little while ago.
I'm looking at this one and I'm looking at the history on it. That's at 599 to get a little bit
Yeah.
better feel. And they started at 675, which is 75,000 higher that's been on since May. So that's a long time.
Yep.
And this is a really good example of, you price it right. You probably could have sold it at
630 back then
630
in May,
or something,
650 maybe,
but now you're looking at
599 and it still hasn't sold.
599 and it still hasn't sold.
Probably not going to. Honestly. So what was your number?
420.
420?
lower, close to the 7%.
So if the other one was at 590, so what's 7% of 590? That's, I don't know, 35,000, 50,000.
Yeah, it's,
So you'd be like 450 or 550?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there?
What is your situation? That might be good.
Yeah,
question to
can't
ask.
tell you yet. I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
Because I don't want it to bias your answer. What's your thought?
Without a situation knowing, what would be pre-priced at?
I think around. We were saying. 540.
540?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, 570.
570?
I think if I was to go on this one right off the bat, if everyone else is right here
At 590,
at
90s.
599, most of them are almost 600, I would
Mhm.
probably go at 580.
Okay.
That's where I would probably start.
So we priced it at 569. If you look at the photos, it is nicer than a few of the other ones that have been listed, for various reasons. Other ones are a little bit more updated. It was honestly an interesting conversation because value wise, or at least what the market's saying, we could have been like, maybe 585, even 590 is still
Yeah.
a better deal. But are those houses selling at 599?
No.
No, so I wanted to spread myself far enough away to where it's a visible gap, like that's a good deal. That's a $30,000 difference, right? And so I encouraged them to list it at 569. Our high end that I gave them was 575 and the low end was 549. And the plan is if we don't get it under contract in 2 weeks, we will drop it closer to 550. So that's kind of the rhyme and reason there. So let's just wrap this up really quick. I'll show you guys how to actually put your comps together. And for those that are eating, if you need to watch along, I don't want to interrupt your nice breakfast,
Riley.
but yeah.
Right. Hey, this is
Hey,
Grant.
Matt.
I've just been following along in the background here, doing my own thing here. So this has been super helpful.
Awesome.
I think so that seems, you said you could have gone value wise higher than that. So
So justifiably because of what else is on the market, but actually would I have encouraged them to? No, because I'm more in this market, you got to focus on the trend. What are we trending? In what direction are we trending? Down, right? And so I don't want to even encourage them to test it. Even 569, it may not work. That's the thing. It's not so much that I'm saying 569, we're selling it all day long. That's the sweet spot between, hey, I'm not asking you to sell your house for 50, 60K below what the other ones are listed or sold for. But you're also, does it make sense? It's kind of like on the quote unquote higher end of things, but realistically still priced aggressively. We did have one showing and they seemed interested. So I'm hoping they'll put an offer in, which would be awesome if it paid off that quickly. But with that being said, if rates are at 7.3 right now, and they're probably bound to go up at the end of the month, then we're looking at 7.5, maybe 8%, or I don't know, somewhere in that ballpark. Then those other properties are probably going to follow suit and they're going to price somewhere in where we're at. And if they start pricing lower, then, then it's a race to the bottom and it's so much fun. But so that's a great question. I was just more meaning that as a seller, when I sat down with them, and I'm close friends with them, they were my clients back in 2020, we were really tight. So I was able to just be really direct with them, and I would either way, but with them, I was basically like, can I be honest with you? Nobody really knows. Nobody has the perfect answer on what's going to happen because like it's up to a buyer. And even the houses where I've had 15, 16 showings, some buyers are literally just saying, no, I just won't buy it. So that's at what point is it like, okay, well, you could always list it at 500 and yeah, you'd for sure sell it, but is that really going to work best for you? No. So I'm just saying, based on the one sold comp of 595 and the other one's listed at 590, justifiably, we are priced low, right? We're 20,000, 30,000 less than the other guys. But in today's market as a buyer, clearly they're not biting on the 590s. And so I wanted to be a fair amount away from that. So we look like a better deal and we can also get the traffic, hopefully before other people start price dropping to follow us. So we just screwed the neighborhood over, but that's how it goes, you got to play the game. So does that help?
Yeah. Would you say that in general, you encourage your clients to price their house to sell fast?
Now I do, for sure. I don't think I'll take a listing unless my client's willing to price it on the lower side of things, for sure. Because here's the thing, I would, but I'm not taking it thinking, oh, I'm going to make money on this, because the last two that I had that we kind of played it safe, they ended up both canceling because it didn't work out for various reasons. And so to protect myself as well as my client for having a good experience, I would rather be more aggressive up front and say, hey, here's what needs to happen. So everybody wins, and also so we can actually I guess experience a good amount of traffic early on. Because it keeps things exciting. It's really hard to go to your seller when, you know, you said, hey, this price reduction, it's really going to do the trick. And then 2 weeks later, you're going back saying, hey, me again. I know we only had one showing, but because the thing is that if I study the market, and with the last couple of listings, I literally looked and I'm like, hey, same thing here. Based on what's sold, everything analytical, this is going to work. Well, guess what? It didn't, because buyers right now are just not acting normal, but it makes sense because this house would be about $5,000 a month at a 7.3% interest rate, you know, or it's like, I think it's like $4,000 a month, but so people are just less incentivized right now, or even motivated to even try to make an offer, you know.
Would you
What
So
about
hopefully that helps.
concessions? What about concessions?
Yeah, they're happening. I think most every house right now is probably gonna, like, I would say moving forward, most sellers are gonna pay 10 to 15,000 in concessions almost every time they sell a house, because a lot of buyers will take advantage of what's called a 2-1 or a 3-2-1 buy down, which is basically where the seller prepays a large amount of money up front to reduce that person's interest rate for the first 2 or 3 years of their loan. And the cost on this one to do a 2-1 buy down is about $12,000. So you got to think other buyers out there, that's kind of their angle. To make it make sense to buy a house right now, you would need to do that, because if not, you're just paying like, it's like stupid amounts, you know.
One question about concession. If the seller is willing to do that, do you put in the remarks to attract more?
I'm torn on that. The reason I've thought about it, but my fear would be is once I put that in the remarks, it's there, even in the history. And what if that doesn't work at this price and we price drop it later? Well, not only are we doing a price drop, but we've also committed ourselves to $15,000 concessions. Does that make sense? I would rather. There's no right or wrong way, because it's whatever works right now. And the hard thing is that you're not always going to look like the hero in this market. Like we're going away from, I got you record profit for your house, everybody's happy because we got a big fat check waiting for us at closing, to did the best I could. We got it done, but I know it didn't look like how we originally anticipated or hoped for. That's really kind of how it's going. And even with these guys, we did the math, and they need to make a certain amount to move because they're moving to Texas. They got to go either way. So, I mean, they're going to do it either way, but mentally they want to make a certain amount. And yeah, if we on the market for 30 to 45 days, like we're going to surpass that for sure. And that's going to be a hard conversation, but just how it goes.
For Texas,
I think Dallas area. Mhm.
So once you get to this point, and then is there an easy report that you
Yep.
can?
Yep, exactly. Okay, so you got all your 5, you got your 5 selected. I guess I did, so I searched them, but just grab 3 random comps, and just for the sake of practice, you'll select 3 comps, and then you're going to click the drop down, and you'll go to CMA report. So there are some people in this office, and even on ProU, you saw a video where it talks about Cloud CMA. I don't use it. It's not because I don't think it's awesome. I do. It's just that I'm too lazy to try to figure it out. And this way has always worked. I'm very like simple. This is the simple nuts and bolts way. Cloud CMA is like the fancy way. Or I guess our listing presentation, since I use the same one as you guys, that's the fanciness. This is more just like the brass tacks for me. I don't really care to spice it up too much.
What you say for the sake of the game, but this is a many active. We choose cops, but just one soul.
Yeah.
Don't be just the one soul.
Yep. Yep.
Or maybe one on the contract.
I would grab, yeah. So I mean, in my opinion, I'd grab what I can, but yeah, it's always good to have at least 1 sold, if not more. And, you know, in this case, I selected 5, which 2, I think, are active, 1's under contract, or let's see, 1, 2. So 3 actives, 2 under contract, and 1 sold is what I'm comparing the property to. So it's a good range temperature check. So whether you're on the same screen as me or the original like drop down one, you're basically going to select the report, and you go to CMA report once you've selected your list or your listings. It's going to pull up this screen here. Cheat code is you take I don't remember the MLS number for my listing. So it's right here. I'll just pretend. So I'm going to just remove this. 400. Not bad.
Still got a good chunk of that.
Oh, for sure. It was at 600. That's why they're bummed. It's funny.
Yeah.
Psychology is hilarious. Okay, so you're gonna take the MLS number of the property we're comparing it to, and you're gonna hit populate subject data in the top left corner. And then you'll type in, yep, 1849575. So then your screen should look something like this.
I wondered why that, I've run this report before, and I'm like, why doesn't the subject property ever go in?
Yep.
So as soon as you say populate and then put the one, then that becomes the subject.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so you'll go here.
Okay, now this.
So I see, I mean, your guys' values may look different because we have different comps, so I'm seeing a combined average of 593. So I mean, that alone, I mean, that's not like, what am I trying to say? That's not like gospel, like that's not set in stone. That's more just like an analytical average. It's your
That's
job
what
to-
other people have on the market.
Exactly, yeah. You know, and even if I went on, like, I hate Zillow, but I'm just gonna just for, you know, kicks and giggles, go on Zillow just to show you guys what my seller saw.
The
'Cause
estimate.
that's what you always want to do that, because then you're going into your appointment, you know what they've seen. You're not going in blind and they're like, oh, I thought it was worth 600. You're like, where are you getting that from? You're like, oh, I know you saw it on, you probably, and sometimes I literally say, I know you probably saw on Zillow, it's worth 600, but it's not. Here's why. So his estimate is at 577. The high end on this was, let's see, I think it was like 600 and some change.
Yeah, 600.
Did it drop because of the fact that you listed it?
It could have for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's been trending downward. My client, that was their biggest complaint. Well, at one point, you know, Zillow said it was over like 605. Okay. I know. I totally get you.
But they bought it for 4.
Yeah, that's what's funny. I'm bummed I only can sell it for 570, but I bought it for 400, but it's because Fairy Tale told me it was worth 6, basically, right? Okay, so looking at this, the next step is you're going to click create CMA packet, which is on the top middle. And I will select, when I do comps, I select full comp details. I select comp photos, and I'll do comparison report. You can select additional things. You're welcome to play around with them. If I were to do something, I might do a map report or whatever, but these 3 are my bread and butter. It's what I prefer. And then you're going to come up to the top and you'll hit print PDF. It'll probably yell at you because there's like 50 photos. You hit OK. Hopefully it'll load and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Cool. So this is what I bring to my appointments, where I'll go through ahead of time and I'll make notes on these to show them that I went through them. Like, oh, maybe this one's like, you know, more up to like whatever. It doesn't have to, you don't actually have to, but I'll usually go through and highlight the spots I want them to see, like list price, sold price, days on market. So as I'm walking them through it, I can, you know, reference them. And then as I get to the bottom, you'll see that same kind of report. Also, photos are built in, which is kind of nice. And you could always download this as a PDF and send it to them, you know, during or prior to your appointment, or I usually bring them in paper as well as digital. But if I scroll to the very, very, very bottom, after all the photos, you'll see that same kind of report we were just looking at, where it says the average is 593. I like using that because, you know, it's an easy way to break it down. But then I always usually say, hey, here's my range. Remember, your job is not to tell them that they have to list their house for a certain amount. You just offer them information and guidance, but they ultimately choose. And so if they say, nope, no ifs, ands, or buts, I'm listing it for 600, then you'll say, okay, I understand. Again, you always, you know, always want to acknowledge what they say. You say, just to let you know, this is what this is probably going to look like. You use information and your knowledge of the process to handle them. You don't just say, well, that's stupid. Well, that's not going to help. You're not going to get any business, right? Okay, I understand. Why is that important for you? Well, because I want to make a certain amount of money. Okay, I understand. Are you open to me telling you what might happen if you list it for 600? Yes. Okay. Well, days on market work against you. Your competition's at 599. They've been on the market 50 days. What does that tell you? So let's just say, Elizabeth, that I'm taking you out tomorrow to go shop for houses, and I've got the one on your neighbor's house, on your neighbor's street, that's listed at 569, and this one at 599. Yours is at 600. And I say we can go look at those 3 houses. What is your first thought about those 3? Right. What would you think about the house that's been on the market for 50 days? What would be your first impression?
We could probably get it for lower.
Might be something wrong with it as well. Some people, I don't know. So a lot of people, that's their second answer. They either say,
Really?
I'm going to negotiate, or there might be something
Oh.
wrong with it. I let them solve their own problem. And then I say, okay, With that being said, do you still want to list it at 600? They're probably going to say no. They say yes, then you got to make a call. You want the listing or not, And then I would usually, if they say yes, I'm going to list it for 600. Then I would usually say something along the lines of like, okay, just let you know my process. Every 10 to 14 days without an offer, I'm going to encourage you to probably price reduce, 3 to 5% so you can stay on top of the market. Does that sound fair? I usually set that expectation ahead of time.
Is it good to get that in writing where they like, do that? Cause I've heard that some agents will do that, will get it written up that after 2 weeks.
Yep,
They have the seller sign that after 2 weeks, they can draw out
X amount.
or whatever price.
it's not a bad idea. I've never done that, but probably something I should do.
It's
Yes.
like better because you don't, the people tend to forget what
Mhm.
thing. So when you call them for the verification, say, do you remember that you signed this one? So.
We're good to go.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So real quick, I just want to get a couple takeaways from you guys. What did you learn today?
That's on.
Yep,
How did you see me?
cool. Was that helpful?
Yes.
Good workshop?
There were certain buttons I didn't know
Yeah,
you
so-
clicked on.
Like the days on market was really hard. And having to go back to each month or whatever the.
How to get just 1 mile radius was that one I didn't know.
Mhm.
I played around with it, but I didn't know how to go back over to
Perfect.
that radius.
Awesome. Well, glad it was helpful. Let's just talk about your guys' current mission. So some of you guys have already completed some of this stuff. I know you got a jet here in 2 seconds. If you need to go, no sweat. Current mission, get your database to 200 people as soon as possible. So get everybody uploaded and start building that database. Every day, make time to do your daily 10-4, 10 contacts, 10 people added to command, 10 handwritten notes, and then 10 homes for you for the week. GPS and 411. So you guys have a scorecard. Scorecard is, I need to update this, it's September still. Your scorecard is that the spreadsheet that Rich sent out to you guys, or it says Shoni shared with you. That has a handful of tools on it. It has what's called a GPS and a 411. I'd love to make time with you soon. A lot of you guys hadn't completed your education requirements, but at this point, you guys are here. So I want to make time to basically sit down week by week with you to go through that plan, make sure your yearly goal set. So we have an actual game plan. It's not just like showing up every day, like, what do I do? And then, that's what's called group coaching. So graduate to group coaching by getting your education stuff done, getting your database uploaded. And then from there, it's basically, we meet once a week. We do trainings like this. You guys bust out activity to get some business.
Where
Sound
can
good?
you find that one? Because I haven't been out.
I don't think you will have it because you're not on the coaching program, but if you want access to some of the, are you?
I am in the concept.
You are?
Yes.
I did not know that. I've met you like 100 times, but I didn't know you're on the program.
Thanks, Riley.
No problem.
Have fun on your show.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I miss a lot.
You're good. I've seen you like a bunch of times before, but I had no idea. So there's so many people that were there from when Shoni was coach. And 20 of them I've probably never seen in my life. Even if I've texted and called them, no response. No, you're good. That's totally fine. Well, welcome. You do have access, but I'll have Ritz send you out all the stuff again. Is that cool? Okay, perfect.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. So I'll just quickly ask you guys, how's it going? How are things?
Just trying to get some solid leads,
Mhm.
appointments.
Okay,
It's kind of what we're trying to do right now.
what do you feel like you're struggling with?
I feel like other than like FISBOs, it's kind of like we're not sure
Yeah.
what else to do.
Understand.
Like that's why yesterday I started calling like just like SOI or old friends and stuff.
Yep.
And, like I kind of had something come out of that. A buddy told me that he's getting married in April,
Mhm.
and depending on where his wife gets in for her master's program, they're gonna want to buy a house. So he could either be buying a house in Texas, but they also apply to like the two schools, the U and the BYU.
Sweet.
So if he gets into those, they'd want to buy a house
So-
here. So
Buy or referral.
yeah.
Good. Yeah, SOI, like I said, primary, that's number one, because that's how you build a business like it's farming. You need some for now and later kind of thing. I would just encourage you again, every conversation, ask for referrals. Sounds like you have been. Your other options are open houses, door knocking, whether that's for an open house or just you're just gonna go pound the pavement. You've got geo leads. We have access to those in the team, which is where you can pull up a neighborhood of people, get their phone number, start bugging them. What
So
else?
Do we have that?
Mhm. Well, I do, but I'm happy to let you use it.
Oh.
Yeah. And if not, Real Advantage Title can help you pull stuff too. So yeah, there's so many things. I would just say every day, make sure your SOI, you get your 10 contacts in, ask every single one for referrals, keep on top of that. Have you sent out announcement letters? I would do that.
We're gonna set, yeah,
Okay.
set that up.
That would be my main target for you right now, because that will lead to a lot. Tyler Stubbs on the team. He's now with Carl Spencer. He got 2 deals off of his announcement letter. So like literally, like he sent it out and a week later he had a listing and a buy. So they work. So that'd be my next best thing. It's called an announcement letter. So for newer students, I have them send it out to their people to let them know in real estate. If you've been in real estate for a minute, then you could send out almost like a market update letter, or the idea is it's not so much about the letter itself, it's about the plan around it, because you're gonna let them know you're gonna send them a letter. You're gonna send them the letter, you're gonna text them to let them know you sent them the letter, and then you're gonna call them a couple weeks later to make sure they got it. So you have 4 conversations around the letter, and on each one, you're able to ask for a referral and also just reiterate the fact you're in real estate. But yeah, I didn't tell you that yesterday, but Tyler on our team, he's now with Carl Spencer. He got 2 deals off of his announcement letter.
That's awesome.
So they definitely work, but that'd be my best thing. Announce a letter. And then when you're done with that for the day, you get your 10 contacts, then move on to another lead source. So get an open house every single week if you can. You go door knock, you could do geo leads. It's just you got to get the wheel turning, basically is what it is, but the momentum will pick up very quickly. And then also figure out a way to maybe post once or twice a week on social media about real estate. You're welcome to stalk my team Instagram and steal my stuff. So if you need ideas.
Do you have, do your clients have an agent in Texas? Does my
They're
dad-
renting.
they're gonna rent,
Mhm.
okay. My dad and other brothers that are agents.
Send me his number.
Okay,
So and just even if I
yeah,
just,
just for options.
yep, well, I can just let them know, hey, when you need one, this I'd go to. Cool. Anything else you need? Okay, I made time to make calls with you guys. Are you guys sticking around or you gotta go?
Yeah, we have to figure out the plan and stuff.
Okay.
Is there a place I can do my class here? It's
For sure.
online today, so.
Yeah, you could,
Upstairs or something.
yeah,
And then I can pop in after.
that works. If it were me, just snag a conference room. Honestly.
Okay.
And you could go ask the front desk if they'll, like, go ask Molly, just say, hey, is there a conference room that's not booked for the next like hour or 2?
Okay.
Is that cool?
I think that there's copies upstairs where people do calls.
You could do that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, good idea.
okay.
Cool. For those on Zoom, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us today. If you need anything, reach out. Just a recap for everybody. I go out of town next week. So I'll be in Costa Rica with probably limited accessibility. So if you need time with me before I leave, let's do that by Sunday. And then obviously you guys are welcome to call or text me anytime, but there'll be no trainings with me next week. My best thing is just make sure you're doing your calls, get your announcement letters done if you haven't done them, and yeah, keep after it. But there's all these YouTube videos too. That's the other thing. So all what we did today, I've done a bunch of times, and there's videos on YouTube. So if you guys, I'm not here next week, you guys could still hop on YouTube and attend a training on buyer or seller presentation.
What is the YouTube?
Let's do this really quick. Let me make sure you're still on my list real fast. And then I will actually just send Ritz a message, or Ritz is on here right now, but 2 seconds.
Hi, Karen.
What's your phone number?
801.
Sorry, hold on. This computer's being done. Why is it not working? Okay. Why the heck is this not working? There we go. What's your number?
801. 808. 8798.
808.
This is Marcela's.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. I just want to make sure I had your stuff in here. So I will message Ritz right now. And you send the scorecard and the. Okay, Ritz, I don't know if you can hear me, my man, but I just sent you a message with that. So we'll get you taken care of. And then I'm gonna actually just make sure you're in my phone. Do you have my number?
Again?
Do you have my number?
No, okay.
I'll text you really quick. 801-808-87. Okay, I just sent you a text message. Awesome. Cool.
Thanks, Riley. I'm gonna jump off.
No problem. Yeah, thank you. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, have a good trip.
Thanks.